Hi everybody, this is Michael Hildebrand and I'm your host on the Sleeptrust podcast, where I'm talking about how to gain back trust in your ability to have a superb sleep again.
In this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast, we are going to talk about how smell can influence our sleep positively. So after this week's episode, you will know exactly which fragrances you can use and how to use them to improve your sleep quality, and in particular to improve the time you need to fall asleep. So if you are having problems to fall asleep as quickly as you want to at the moment because you're feeling stressed or uncomfortable when you're lying in bed, then you're going to move to using these fragrances to support to feel calm and relaxed and fall asleep faster and even get a better sleep. So I think smell is something that is completely underrated when it comes to sleep and other aspects of our life too. Essentially, smell is something like the VIP access system to our emotional system, to the limbic system. Typically, if we experience things with our senses, like we see things, we hear things, and so on, then they go through our brains, right? They touch our conscious minds at parts, and so on. And at some point, we get into the limbic system that creates emotions. But the smell has a very direct access to this limbic system. It's kind of a VIP access. So you can imagine this to work like, you smell something and you literally from one moment to the next, without thinking about it, whatever, have a feeling. And this is powerful. We all know this. So you might have a feeling of, if you smell something, you might kind of get thrown back into your childhood when it smells like, your mom or your grandma cooking for you. And that might give you this wonderful feeling. It's instantly. So you get the feeling first, and then the memories show up at some point if you dig into that feeling. And this is kind of different from how the other senses mostly work. I've got a story, I'm going to share that with you in a moment, a personal story how I utilize this at least one, but I'm going to share one with you. So basically, we want to use this VIP access for our sleep now. Any other things, and you can do a lot of things, and you know that I've got a lot of content out there with tips and techniques, tools that you can use to improve your sleep. But they're all kind of like you have to pass a couple of hurdles. You have to do them, and you have to put in a little bit of effort, think about them, change something. You have to change something here too, but not so much. And then you're going to reach your emotions and change the underlying cause of what's, keeping you from falling asleep. With the smell, it's kind of like bypassing all of these hurdles. So if you get the smell and utilize a good smell, something that is already related to relaxation for you, or you pick a smell that is just known to work well with relaxing, calm states of mind, sleep promoting states, then this can kind of bypass a lot of problems and bring you into an emotional state that is really going to be good for your capabilities of falling asleep quickly. So let's move on step by step. Which fragrances really help to get us into this calm, relaxed state of mind that will promote our sleep when we go to bed? And there's no clear answer for you here. There are a couple of fragrances that work with most people, but you have to test if this is true for you. So things like chamomile, bergamot, or lavender are known to promote sleep, or at least a calm and relaxed state for most people out there. But you have to test if this is true for you. If there's something in a smell that you don't really like, then it's not going to work. You truly have to test this, bring this into your bedroom or test it somewhere else, and just experience if your emotions are tied to this smell in a positive way. The other approach that you can take is to choose a smell, a fragrance that you know gets you into this state of mind. And this can be because you had a relaxing experience, so it's a smell that you smelled in a place where you were totally relaxed. maybe where you went to a spa or went for a meditation or went somewhere else where you were in a very relaxed state. And if they used a certain fragrance, then you can use this fragrance at home too, and it will have the same effect for you. So it's a little bit trial and error here. But if you don't know where to start, definitely check out lavender. I think that's a good choice, good first choice, and you can't do a lot wrong with that. Most people like it. The next thing is, how are we going to get this smell into our bedrooms? And there are three options, two that I would recommend. So the first is you take an essential oil and put it into one of these things that you have a little candle underneath, and the candle will kind of warm up the water where you put in a couple of drips of essential oil, and over a couple of minutes the smell of this essential oil will just spread through the room. I don't recommend it because you have a candle, a burning candle. That's not a good combination for sleep, but it's one that you could use. You could do it before you go to bed, turn off the candle, then obviously before you fall asleep. But if you for some reason fall asleep before you put off the candle, that's not so good. Also, even if it's in a safe place, a candle uses oxygen, and there are other particles flying around in the air that you might not want to have in your bedroom, so not the best option. Next option is to use a diffuser, and diffusers are little electronical devices where you put in a little bit of water, you put in a little bit of essential oil, and then they kind of diffuse that water with the oil into the air and spread the smell throughout the bedroom. That's a good option. You can set a timer with a lot of them. If not, you can put a sleep timer or something into your power supply so that it will turn off at some point automatically. And the third option that I've got for you is to use a pillow spray. And a pillow spray is probably what you imagine it to be. It's a spray with the fragrance that promotes sleep, promotes relaxation, and you can just spray it onto your pillow, your cushion, and you're ready to go. And that way you do not have to buy a diffuser or work with candles in your bedroom. It's just a good option. I'm personally the recommended sleep coach from a company called the Drowsy Sleep Co., and they also produce pillow sprays. So check out, if you want to get a pillow spray, check them out. I'm not sure, I know they sell the pillow spray in the UK. I'm not sure if they're selling them here in the US yet, but check out pillow sprays on Amazon, and I'm sure you're going to find something. And I'm going to hook up the Drowsy Sleep Co. into the show notes of this week's episode, because these guys are really cool. I'm not getting money for this or anything. The products are ethically sourced, they're vegan, and they just have very good substances. And I personally love the Drowsy pillow spray. It's just, a very good smell for me. They include lavender, bergamot, and others. And they've also got a kid spray. My kids love it, so I don't use it every evening with them. But, on occasion, as a little reward, I get the, kid spray out and put it onto the pillows, and they all love it. So that said, now let's move on to how do we want to work with our smell to get the most out of it for our sleep, right? So the first option, besides what we talked about, the last couple of minutes, just bringing a very relaxing smell like lavender or others into our bedroom, the first option of what we can actively do is when we're on a holiday. Let's just stick to the example that you get how it works. When we're on a holiday and we're in a relaxed state of mind and have a better sleep now after a couple of days because the outside noise is kind of going away, the demands are not there anymore, then we can anchor, that's what it's technically called, anchor a certain smell to this state. So after a couple of days, when you're noticing that your sleep or your capabilities to fall asleep fast are getting better, simply use a smell, it doesn't matter which one you choose, in that room, in your bedroom, on vacation, and this will anchor this smell to your relaxed state of mind if you do this for a couple of days in a row. When you get back home, and this is kind of the magic, then you want to use exactly this smell. It doesn't matter if it's perfume or anything else. It should be something that you like, obviously, and that's not too intense. But you use the same smell on a day that you're really stressed, and you will notice how fast, instantly, you're going to feel relaxed. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing that you can do is to use a smell in your bedroom at home. If you have problems like, say, you're away business-wise quite frequently in hotels, and it's kind of common that the first night is mostly not that good in a hotel, or at least for many people, then you can also use a smell at home if you have, if you're good at falling asleep at home, and take that smell with you to your hotel. It kind of follows a tip that I gave you when we were talking about hotels. Just take your pillow with you. You know, the pillow essentially is not only the feeling that you're at home, but also the smell that, you know, it's your washing powder. It's your smell if you used it once already. So whatever, it's the smell of the house. You take that with you, and you can do the same if you use, let's say, a pillow spray again. If you use a pillow spray at home and you're used to this and it gives you this relaxed feeling, you fall asleep quickly, and you take that pillow spray into the hotel, you're going to be hooked to the same emotions. Super powerful. As said, it's a bypass through our brain directly into the limbic system that triggers our emotions, and you don't want to miss out on this because it's just so simple to use, right? It's a no-brainer. And I promised you that I'm going to share a personal story with you that I use smells. I use my pillow spray, but what I want to share with you is something else, and that is I always love, when I see a little tomato plant, I always stroke the leaves and smell my fingers afterwards because it instantly remembers me of my grandma. It's as if she were standing right beside me. And this is just such a fantastic feeling. So I love the smell, first off, obviously. But when I visited my grandma when she was still living, you know, she always had tomatoes in the summer. And we went through the garden, and I always did this because she did it, essentially. So when I do it now, I instantly have the feeling my grandma is with me. And that's just to tell you how powerful this is. And I love the smell, obviously, too. So what you want to do is to, first off, think about how you can benefit from smell. Then you want to test this, get a smell, a fragrance into your bedroom and see how it works for you. Doesn't matter if it's a pillow spray, a diffuser, an essential oil, get it into your bedroom. You can also put drops of essential oil onto your pillow. I personally wouldn't do that because it's an oil and you don't want to have oil, or I don't want to have oil in my pillow, kind of. But you can do that and see how that works for you, which smells relate and promote sleep for you, bring you into this calm, relaxing, pre-sleep preparing state. As always, it's your choice. You can test this. I think it's a no-brainer, but you can also leave it apart and say, okay, things are going to move on. There are other things that relate more to me. That's okay. If not, if you say this is a cool thing, then take action, get a pillow spray, get essential oil, play around with that. If you're planning your next vacation, think about, taking one smell with you to bring the relaxation back home. If you have a business trip in front of you, think about, taking a smell with you into the hotel that you feel home, safe, and good, and see what for a powerful effect this can have for you. Definitely check out sleeptrust.eu because first off, I'm gonna link the Drowsy Corp to this episode. I think it's just fair. They've got super good products, but I'm also going to link a free meditation for you. And I think it's a fantastic combination to, smell and meditation. So get the meditation. It's free. It's 15 minutes. It's going to bring you into a sleep promoting state. And I highly recommend you go to the sleeptrust.eu, check out the show notes and get that meditation for you. And with that, let's wrap up this week's episode of the Sleep Trust podcast. Using smell is a very powerful thing when it comes to bringing us into a calm and relaxed state instantly. The smell has a VIP access to our emotional limbic system by bypassing other sections of our brain. There are 3 ways how you can get the smell to work in your bedroom, which is using essential oils, using a diffuser, or using a pillow spray. Anchoring a sleep-promoting state to a fragrance we love on a holiday and bringing this back home can be very powerful, as is to anchor a sleep promoting state at home to a fragrance and taking this into a hotel room. And that's it for this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast. I hope you enjoyed yourself and that you tune in next week when I'm going to have a chat with Anna No More Sleepless. That's her Instagram handle. She's somebody like you and me who had her sleep problems and figured a way out, and she had massive sleep problems. So definitely check out this interview. I'm sure it's going to be super good and interesting, and she's a lovely person too. So tune in next week. Until then, have a superb sleep.
Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Sleeptrust podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to get further information on this podcast or material that will help you to gain back your sleep trust, please check out sleeptrust.eu. That's sleeptrust.eu, where you will get lots of information around sleep. And here comes some legal stuff. Everything on this podcast is my opinion only, so do not take it as an advice, as I am not a doctor, nor have I considered your personal situation. If you feel that you need medical advice, please consider getting an appointment at your doctor of trust. If you want to give me any kind of feedback on this podcast, feel free to email me at podcast@sleeptrust.eu. I hope you tune in again next week, and until then, have a good sleep.